it is beyond belief that every single member of the United States Senate, United States Congress is...
Yeah, beyond belief. And belief is what it's all about, right? Faith without evidence. I'm going to have to throw a change up for you right now because this show, we need to keep it on topic, and the time limitation is going to hurt us here because I need it to be full. This has to be a full show. And I want to read some more comments from the chat room, but before I do that, we've got an interview that happened between Piers Morgan and Penn Jillette. I think that's how you pronounce his name. A magician turned philosopher. I know I'm kind of labeling him and all. I don't like to do that, but I like people to have some. I mean, think about this. Richard Dawkins was a biologist, turns into world religion philosopher. So you really got to question things, but then you got to look at the way they handle evidence. And Richard Dawkins has a very impressive way of handling evidence, and that came directly from the scientific method, which is pounded into your head if you're going to school for biology. And any other scientific field. Scientific method. Prove it or it doesn't exist. If it may exist, but if you can't prove it, all you can do is a theory, and you shouldn't even make a theory unless you have some evidence for that, even if it's just circumstantial and remote. And this is what he did. Now, Piers Morgan, I had no idea he was a man of faith because I don't know. So it's just sometimes you get a vibe from somebody before you ever hear about their faith as to whether or not they're atheist or agnostic or, whatever. And I had a vibe that he was not a religious man. And it turns out he was. And I don't know if he still is or not. This is a couple years ago. But I want you to listen to this interview and listen to the way a proper British semi-scholar in Piers Morgan handles a magician turned world philosopher, American style. Tell me if this sounds right.
Penn Jillette is the outspoken larger half of the world-famous magic act Penn and Teller. He's also the author of God No, Signs You May Already Be an Atheist, and Other Magical Tales. And Penn Jillette joins me now. God No.
God, boy, you read that wonderfully.
Thank you.
I should have had on the book on tape. I should have released the title.
So here's my thing about you. See, I read the little intro you wrote here.
Yeah.
You may already be an atheist if God, however you perceive him or it, you say, told you to kill your child, would you do it? If you answer no, in my booklet, you're an atheist. There is doubt in your mind. Love and morality are more important to you than your faith. If your answer is yes, please reconsider. That's pretty strong stuff.
Very strong. Yeah.
Even by your standards.
Yeah, well, my point is always to be an atheist, I think you have to be a tremendous optimist. And I think that the way to turn someone into an atheist is to just flood them with love. I mean, I had a
actually,
wonderful
you can also
family
be a
growing up.
tremendous pessimist. I mean, a lot of the atheists I've met over the years, let me declare my colours. I believe in God.
Okay.
I was reared an Irish Catholic boy. I had...
So there's no hope for you.
I had spiritual education from Catholic nuns, so I'm a believer. And my issue with atheists...
I love when you quote the monkeys.
Exactly.
I just love it when you quote them.
But here's the thing. I have always had a belief about atheists that my irritation with atheists is that their belief is a non-belief. Mm-hmm. And when you write a book about it, you're basically writing a whole book telling a bunch of people who have a genuine, sincere belief in something, I don't believe in what you believe in. Mm-hmm. You don't actually believe in anything to rival it, from what I can gather. You just don't believe in their belief.
I don't think that's true.
And that's a negative thing, isn't it?
I don't find it negative at all. I find it, that's one of the points of this. I mean, that's one of the important things when people come up to me about atheism, and they do, is that they talk about the bitterness and the having all the answers and the hubris of thinking we can know everything.
You talk about alternatives being, love, family,
of course,
spiritual things,
awesome.
but everyone...
But that's not spiritual.
No, but most...
That's real.
No, but most people that believe in God also believe in love.
Absolutely.
And family, and all the things that you offer as some kind of strange alternative. And by the way, I say this as a huge fan of you as a magician.
Well, thank you.
You've been on America's Got Talent. I think the act is incredible. I urge everyone to go and see it. But when it comes to this particular premise, God, no, you anger me.
Do I really?
Yes.
Do I really anger you?
You do. Because I think it's a deliberately provocative stance you take.
No, not
It's
at all.
designed to annoy and agitate people who have a sincere belief.
I don't think so at all. You won't find in this book anywhere any attacks on people. I mean, one of the things, I don't know if you've seen the Book of Mormon, Matt Stone and Trey
Yeah,
Parker,
this is brilliant.
which they describe as a love letter to religion from an atheist. And that's one of the things Matt said about it. And a lot of this talking, I've been talking to Matt and Trey for years about this, and when they did the Richard Dawkins episode of South Park, one of the things we talked about is that idea of bitterness and the idea of the anger that comes from that. And I am a huge fan of proselytizing. I am a huge fan of speaking your mind. The only way we can share the universe, the only way we can share humanity is by talking very strongly about what we believe.
You are the chief atheist out there. How did you get here? How did we get here?
Well, let me ask you, how did we get here?
I believe in this superior being, a God.
Of course.
And therefore the questions which always baffle atheists, the hard reality of life, I believe there is something greater out there. There's a greater entity, which is a spiritual being,
but what is
that allows comprehension on a scale we could never understand.
If it's a comprehension...
But if you don't believe in that superior being, what do you think happened?
If it's comprehension on a scale that we can't possibly understand, aren't you done? Why do you need to label that as something that's God or something?
Because I've never heard an atheist explain to me...
Why isn't there a humility to saying, I don't know?
Because I never hear an atheist give me any answers to how did we get here and what happens at the end of our lives.
But the answer to something, saying we can't understand it, is not an answer.
Right, so how do you think we got here?
I don't know.
What do you think happens when you die?
Well, nothing. I think there's
Where do you go?
There's no evidence at all. Where do you go?
Where do you go?
I mean, I think
when you die, you must be terrified of death. That's it.
Not at all. Not even slightly.
But what do you think happens to you?
How scared are you of 1890? Does 1890 terrify you?
1890?
1890, yeah.
What are you on about?
You weren't alive. You weren't alive then, right?
No.
You weren't alive. You didn't exist in any way.
No.
Is that a horror to you?
No.
So why is 2090 any worse than that?
I'm not horrified by any thought of dying, because I believe that you go on to a celestial place, which is wonderful.
And
but for you,
atheists, where's your evidence of the celestial place?
Well, because I come back to the issue of creation.
Right.
Where do atheists...
All you have answered with the issue of creation is
your
answer to... my answer is I don't know, and your answer is something beyond comprehension. Aren't those the same answer?
You cannot write a book basically telling a bunch of people around the world, billions of people, who believe in a God, you're all wrong, but by the way, I don't have any explanations.
They don't either. You don't have an explanation. You said beyond understanding.
Your provocative views don't necessarily offend me. However, there will be many, many, many Christians watching this who find it just offensive that you'd write a book called God No, and then calmly sit here and go, oh, I don't have any explanation for anything. However, you lot are barking mad.
Well, no, but you said the same thing. But what I'm saying, I never say you lot are barking mad.
You think
that's kind of English.
You think we're all a bit crazy, though, a bit nuts?
No, not at all. One of the things that was so important to me, and I think you're maybe wrong about Americans here. I did a show called BS for 8 years, where I said this stuff that was very, very provocative. And when I pitched this show to Showtime, I say with embarrassment that I pitched it kind of cynically. I pitched it saying, there will be people that'll hate us and that'll drive the whole thing. What I found out was when we would do shows that were strongly atheist, we would get hundreds of letters from Christians saying it's nice that people are being passionate and saying what they believe from their heart.
That's my point. I have a religious and spiritual belief, which I find...
I don't think it's a belief.
Which I find comforting in the way that I do prayer and faith. It is a belief.
But faith is different.
It is a belief. You believe in God. Your belief is a non-belief. It's an anti-belief. You don't have...
Wrong, Pierce. Wrong. And I've already listened to this clip, so I don't think Penn is going to hang him on this like he should. If I were sitting in that chair, listen to the difference in the way I would have answered versus the way Penn's going to answer. I would have said, don't tell me I don't have a belief. I believe 100% that I don't know. And the reason I believe that is because I know how to weigh evidence, and I value the methodology involved in gathering and assessing evidence, Piers, and the evidence doesn't look too convincing for your brand right now. That doesn't mean that your brand is impossible, but it makes it improbable to me, leading me to what conclusion? I don't know. So don't tell me I don't have a position. I have a very specific position and a belief in that position, and until I get evidence one way or the other, I'm not moving. I'm just not going to move. But that's not the way he handled this. Let's listen to the way he handled this.
I believe. You just don't believe that what I believe is right.
Let me just ask you, do you believe in Thor?
Thor?
Yeah, Thor.
No, because that's not the type of God that I believe in.
Okay, but you are an atheist on every single God except the one you happened to be taught when you were a child. On everything else, you're an atheist. Everything you believe is a negation of every other God
I don't
that's
think you
ever
can
existed.
compare Thor to God.
Why?
Because it's not the same thing, and you know it isn't. You're just being deliberately perverse when you
Okay,
do
well,
that.
pick any God. Is there any God that other people believe?
I think a soccer player called Thierry Henry is godlike. But you can't equate him to God.
Okay. So you are saying that all the Muslim God, the God of Hindu, the gods of Catholics and Protestants are all the same God, even though there's different rules?
No, but I have an absolute respect for anybody from any religion that has a spiritual and religious conviction and belief in a godlike entity in their lives.
I mean, how active a Christian are you? Are you as active as Garth Brooks? Are you as active? I mean, active is a very relative thing.
I agree with that. Probably not as active as Garth Brooks.
Yeah, okay. So you're going to have people on the whole spectrum. And the most important part of this book is that I think that proselytizing is really good. I love Jehovah's Witnesses saying what they believe. If you believe in your God, tell people about it. Pray for me, explain it to me.
What about if you were dying? Hypothetically, because you put
I am dying.
You put a
So are
horrendous
you.
hypothetical here about killing children, right? So
Yeah.
I can be horrendous to you.
Okay.
So you're dying.
Okay.
You've got a week to live, right?
Now, do you know this? Because
No, I
it's
don't.
going to change what I do
No,
tonight.
I
Because I
don't.
get other stuff to do.
Don't worry, because I'm praying for you, so it probably won't
But
happen.
I mean,
Right?
you're not
But-
packing, are you?
No,
Are you
no, I'm not packing.
Because I
No,
mean,
no.
sometimes people like you, they pull a gun, they shoot you in the face.
I'm not
You're
getting-
dying, bang, I'm dead.
I can reassure you, I'm not about to
Okay,
shoot
you're
you.
not packed?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
You have a week to live.
Okay.
And you have 2 young children.
Yes, I do.
And you need to explain to them what's going to happen to Daddy. What do you say? To comfort them in this terrible time.
I don't think to comfort them I lie to them, and I don't think I have the immodesty to say that I know. I say that they'll miss me, and I hope they remember me. I have lost my mom, my dad, and my sister. The love will live on as long as I will. There will not be a second in my life that I will not love my mom, my dad, my sister, and everybody that I've loved that's died.
We're going to take a short break. The good news for you is it doesn't have the finality of everything else in your life. we will be back in a moment. So look, you live in Las Vegas.
Yes.
Sin City. You've never touched alcohol.
I believe touching it might be wrong.
You
but,
don't drink alcohol.
I don't drink alcohol. No.
You don't take drugs.
I don't drink caffeine.
You don't fornicate with ladies of the night.
No.
You don't gamble.
Although my wife exists during the night, but I mean.
You don't gamble.
I have. When I say I haven't drank, I really mean it. When I say I haven't gambled, that wouldn't be true. I've probably put maybe $5 in a slot machine, $10 in a slot machine.
Why would you live in Las Vegas?
Because there's nothing I like doing more than my show. And in New York, we had 2 Broadway runs that were very successful, 2 off-Broadway runs that were very successful. And that's pushing your luck. And in Vegas, we can have a theater called the Penn and Teller Theater.
Atheist
And we
way
can
to get
play
out of
there.
economic strife. In other words, harsh reality. With your business brain, successful
said of
guy.
Berlin,
Where's
a
America
cheap
gone
holiday in
wrong?
other people's
What's the
misery.
answer?
And I'm afraid that sometimes Las Vegas can seem like that. But I mean, the most important thing is individuals, and the most important thing is diversity, and the most important thing is to have.
All right, something's gone a little weird here. We're going to keep going with this, and I will pick on both of these guys as necessary, but I had 2 clips running at once, so things have gone slightly retarded. We'll see if we can get it back in line here.
But I'm also very much in favor of people living their lives in different ways than I do.
I mean, to many people,
The fact that other people drink
constantly
doesn't working it out.
When you
I
see
think
the
that
state of America,
the
with its
problem is
economy
maybe
just so completely
thinking
tanking.
that somebody
the
above us, someone in power,
squabbling like little children, and no
can
one
take
seems
care
to
of all
really
of us
have an
and
answer
fix
to
everything.
how to get out of it. It's their job.
You're
in
a
successful
business.
business. That's
It's
why
gonna come to
why you
praying
vote
again.
for people. It's why they get elected.
Okay, we've got a problem here. I can't continue with that. Something has happened